Hello! It has been too long, my friends, but the wait is over. I'm driving a new car. This, if you had not already deduced from the thumbnail, is the Ford Bronco, the Everglades Sasquatch. So that is what Mary is driving this week. I've only been behind the wheel of it once, but I've been in the backseat plenty of times when we go off-roading, so I am psyched. The reason that TFL is giving me this one to drive for the week is because, oh geez, how long ago was that? 2 months ago? Maybe it was in May? I don't know. I drove the Jeep. I drove that Wrangler Bill, and that was an experience for Mary. The steering was really stiff, and it was really loud in there, and the seats felt like they just forgot to design comfort. But anyway, the gist of this video is that daily driving the Jeep kind of sucked. So we've taken another off-roader, the Ford Bronco. Let's go. And we're gonna see if the Ford Bronco fixes all the problems that the Jeep had, or if it sucks just as bad. We'll see. Oh no, wrong lane. Here we go. Another Bronco, a fellow Bronco. It's a cool color. I like the blue Broncos. I think those are cool. Oh, I just made really weird eye contact with that man next to me. I don't know if this Everglades has a name. It's another green Ford. Speaking of green Fords, I have driven a green Ford before, the Maverick, and if you haven't watched that video, I can spare you those 20-some minutes. Basically, I got amazing MPG, I got 46 MPG, and I kind of fell in love with the Maverick. So it is not my first time driving a green Ford, and I will do my darndest to be unbiased. But historically, I have kind of dug driving green Fords. I mean, I've driven one. First things first, we're gonna get a car wash because I felt like it. Also, car washes are just kind of mesmerizing to watch, so I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to go through with this Bronco. It's the exact same gauntlet I ran Jeep through. For the Jeep, I went through 6 different categories. The first one we had was noise. Is it too loud? The second category was comfort. How long can you sit in it before you feel like you want to die? The third one was steering. Practicality is number 4. How easy is it to live with? How practical is the design? The operating systems, etc. That's fun. The practicality is essentially how easy is it to use. Wow, that's loud! So. The 5th category is safety. How safe do you feel? Simple as that. And last but not least, the 6th category is vibes, baby. Now with the Jeep, I loved the vibes. The vibes were immaculate. So we're gonna see what the Bronco has going for in terms of vibes. Cool, let's roll. To me, it kind of looks like a dinosaur because of the, see, like, this kind of looks like a snout almost, like it's like an alligator that's like rising from the depths. So it's gotta have kind of like an alligator name, I believe. How about Gordon? No. Brody, oh, it's closer. Brittany, is it a girl? Okay, so I didn't figure out a name for him sitting there in the parking lot, but I came back to the office and I said, Andre, the Bronco needs a name. And Andre came up with Brutus. That's a good name. Brutus the Bronco, let's go! It's raining today, which completely cancels out the fact that I washed it yesterday, because now it's just wet and covered in mud. So it goes. Anyway, category 1, my friends, is noise. Now, if I hopped into this vehicle, like somebody picked me up in it, or it wasn't mine, or whatever, I don't think I would really think about the road noise very much. However, there is a very strange whistle that comes from what I can only imagine is the snorkel. It's not like an overwhelming, day-stopping, maddening kind of whistle. It's not like a you know, and I know that like a lot of off-road vehicles like the TRD Pro or the Trail Hunter, like those have big snorkels that whistle loud. It's not quite that bad, but it is a little curious. Kind of like a. And the other thing is you can really only hear it if that passenger window is down. Let's try it. Oh, there it is. Kind of like a wheeze. Sounds like when my sister can't breathe out of her nose right when she's sleeping. That's not a terrible price to pay if you want to be able to go through deep water. It also just appears to have a lot more like deadening than other off-roaders that have tops that can come off. But as far as noise goes, it's smooth. Those 35s aren't really doing it a ton of favors, but like I didn't notice it right off the bat, whereas when I hopped into the Jeep, I noticed immediately how loud it was. One thing that I think is pretty noisy is actually the engine, that 2.3. It's got 300 horsepower. Kind of growly. Kind of freaked me out at first, actually. I was like, oh geez, I might be breaking it. Basically, every car that I climb into, I'm scared I'm gonna break it, because with my luck, I just would. There is the phantom whistle when that window's up, but only if you're really pushing the throttle. Noise, I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10, because it's not quiet per se, but it's not a deafening dragon roar. I always feel like when people complain about road noise, unless it's like truly terrible, don't you guys always have music on? The only time I don't have music on is when I'm yapping to this GoPro right here, when I'm talking to all y'all about a car. So again, even unless it's like deafening, the music's on anyway and you're not gonna hear it. So someone please explain to me why people still complain when you can like literally just turn on the Bee Gees. Or alternatively, I can sing to you. Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk on a wall with me. No time. That Ford chime, I'm telling you, they really do the most with the open doors. Good morning! Today we're gonna talk about comfort. What's up, Brutus? Let's turn this bad boy on. So, comfort is... everything shut up! Okay, anyway, comfort. Is the Ford Bronco comfortable? And my answer is it's adequate. I don't know what that lever does. Whoa, yeah, that goes way back. It's not like the most comfortable thing I've ever sat in, but again, when you're in an off-roader, you don't want to be like sitting in a lazy boy, you know, when you're on the trail, because then you're just gonna feel a little bit too loosey-goosey. The seats kind of feel like a brace, like you sprained your wrist or your ankle or something and you're braced in, because that's what it's supposed to feel like off-road. You're supposed to be kind of buckled in. Now, they are not super bolstered seats up here, but they are bolstered. It does its job well. They are comfy, cozy, rockin' Rosie. I've really been practicing backing in, but I'm not confident enough to do it at home yet. Shoot, I forgot my sunglasses. I was a boogie singer, singing in a rock and roll band. But anyway, category 2 is comfort. A car on road really ought to be comfortable, considering some people's commutes, like me, are like an hour long. I think these seats definitely don't seem to be designed with like top tier comfort in mind, but it's unlike the Jeep. It's not exactly like comfort is completely forgotten about. It's still like you can sit in it for a while and not get super achy. Not like floating on the croissant, but it is, like I said, adequate. I was coming to a stop earlier this morning and I heard the engine kind of going and I thought it was like an ambulance somewhere. That part's a little uncomfortable. Turning, it's my right of way. We are up in my neck of the woods today to talk about steering. Yeehaw. Now, I'm gonna take the Bronco up into some windy roads up by a reservoir where I live to kind of give that steering a proper shot, to really feel how she feels, to do what she does. Now, the Jeep, as this is turning into a pretty comprehensive complaint about the Jeep Wrangler, was, I called her stiff. The steering was stiff. And as we discussed, the recirculating ball steering is so that your wheel doesn't whip at you when you're going off-road, when you hit a rock. So, from what I can tell, the steering in this Everglades is not as stiff. However, you can still tell that it's an off-roader. Kind of what I already said about the noise and the comfort. Like, it's adequate. It doesn't feel like velvet. It's not smooth like chocolate mousse, but it's also not quite as like pull it as hard as you can like it is the Wrangler. That being said, it still feels like the steering was designed for off-roading, for really measured, calculated, and deliberate movements with the wheel. This is gonna be a short segment because I don't have a lot to say about the steering other than that it steers. Yeah. I would call it tight, but not quite stiff. There's that whistle, the snorkel whistle, the snistle, the workle, the snorkel whistle. I'll stop. I wanted to try it on these kind of windy roads up here too, because these are typically the kinds of roads that like you're driving up to get to an off-roading trail. So Yeah, dude, it's great. It's fine. Like, I don't have any complaints about it. It doesn't really feel like I have to yoink it to turn, and that's all a woman can ask for. It's so pretty up here. Holy moly. God, you just feel cool driving this thing, though, I will say. Even though it leaves a lot to be desired in terms of perfection on road, you just feel so freaking cool driving it. At least I do. I feel very lucky to be able to drive cool cars for work. And all of you fools get to come with me. I mean fools very endearingly. I too am a fool. We are fools together. Jesters. Okay, well, I think that concludes my steering segment. Adequate, per usual, as it goes with all of the other elements of this car so far. Adequate. Now, how do I get off this mountain? Number 4, practicality. Of course, I brought Jan, the most practical person I know, on this little segment. Now, Jen, the number one thing that I've learned about the Bronco Everglades that I find deeply impractical is this steel winch.
Interesting. In what ways is it impractical?
Honey, it adds like a whole 7 inches to your front bumper.
Okay, yeah, if not even more. Especially with the hook here. It definitely can be a little more difficult to park if you're pulling in, right?
Yeah, so when I'm on the highway or like at any red light, right, and I'm like slowing down behind a car, I'm just scared that I'm gonna yeet this thing right into their bumper.
This is a pretty tall hood and you can't really see where this ends when you're on the road.
Exactly.
But parking, you could back into a spot.
If I was 007, I would do that all the time. This feels deeply impractical to me, and I know that this is actually super practical in terms of recovery.
Right, in the right situation.
In the right situation, stellar. Like, and it comes with this. Like, this was not added later. This like came out of the dealership like that. In some ways, it's practical off-road, but to me, honey, get that lip filler off of there. You know what I'm saying?
90% of the time, you ain't gonna need it during the day.
Another thing that I think is practical about the Bronco Everglades is that it's a 4-door. I love a 4-door. I love a 4-door because more often than not, I do get the back seat. Speaking of the back seat, it's not terrible. I've been back here in several off-road shoots. It's not uncomfortable. It's not like you don't have like copious amounts of legroom back here. You have a decent amount of headroom.
This is actually pretty comfortable,
right?
But you leave this where you drive.
Yep.
And you're 5'7".
Yes.
Curious what this would be like all the way back.
It would be unpleasant. Off-roading is only fun for the driver.
Yeah, because especially the driver has something to hold on to. We've got, a bar. We've got a couple handles here, one on the door panel.
In terms of like tech in the front, how easy it is to use, the practicality up there. Girl, I ain't got no qualms. It's got Apple CarPlay, which is kind of all that I need. But I also like that this one has real buttons down here. You're not really like wondering how you find the radio or the volume knob, or like the climate controls have buttons, which I love. One thing that I don't love, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
Look at your gauge cluster. So on our left-hand side is going to be our gas gauge, how full and empty we are. In that middle is the miles per hour, and then the RPMs on that right side. And then all your actual gauges, which should be wheels, in my opinion, are like video game, health levels.
What do you mean wheels?
Like the
gauge?
A gauge, if you will. The gauges aren't actually gauges.
Yeah.
They're just like these
It's digital, if you will.
Oh my God.
Excuse me. If there was 2 gauges on either side,
one over here,
that would make more sense, but the fact that it's only on the left is a little odd.
You can toggle through this menu, yeah. So there are ways you can turn it to those gauges and you can leave it there, but that's just not the default. It just seems like a lot of extra steps when you could have all of the gauges sitting there.
Fair.
You know what I'm saying? But whatever. I also don't like how the windows... Oh, also practicalness, practicallusion.
Yeah.
Cargo space.
Yeah, sure.
You can fit stuff.
Stuff can be put in there.
It's not like crazy amounts of stuff.
That's nice that flips up.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty decent cargo space. You could
In
fit
a
a
pinch,
whole Mary in there.
You could fit a person.
A whole Mary.
There's also some 12-volt ports. That's also more practical than the Jeep. It's important to note that all the complaints that I make about the cars that I drive are based on the trim that I'm driving.
Correct.
Like all of my complaints that I had about the Wrangler is because that was a base model Wrangler.
Yeah, it's the cheapest Wrangler you could buy.
Exactly. And this actually is obviously not the most luxurious one. Another thing that's kind of impractical is the manual adjustments on the seats. The seats are also manually adjusted, Jam.
Okay.
which is not a big deal. Every car I've ever driven has had manually adjustable seats.
Right. But I think what you're trying to say, if I may, is that at a certain price point, you're kind of expecting more, such as motorized seats.
It's $57,000. You're not going to ventilate the seats?
I mean, that could be because of the type of material they chose, which is a material that can get more wet.
That's true.
You know, and when you have a convertible type vehicle, you want an interior that is capable of handling a little bit of moisture. But I see what you're saying. You know, for a price point, you're kind of expecting some higher luxuries.
And at the end of the day, if I was gifted this Bronco, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, no ventilated seats? That wouldn't happen.
You'd be a happy camper.
I'd be like, oh my God, get out of the way, Gavin. Do you think it's practical?
I think it's pretty practical. I mean, it's more of a fun car than it is a practical car. I mean, the most practical car you can think of is what, a minivan, you know?
Yeah, but it has all the things.
It has all the things that you need for sure.
I didn't feel like driving today, which is why Tommy's in the driver's seat.
This is the chauffeured section of Mary's Drive.
Exactly. Safety, Tommy. That's what we're discussing. This section is safety. Here's what I have to say. 1, love how big the mirrors are.
Good.
I've been loving the mirrors. 2, brakes are a little squishy for me. The
Not so
brakes are
good
too
for
squishy.
safety.
Not so good for safety. Oh, it has very good technology in terms of the backup camera.
So I think other things worth noting, it's got quite a lot of airbags. It's got driver and passenger, but it also has standard side curtain, which is also good news. And then the other thing I want to get your input on is I think it's got pretty good headlights.
I have not driven it at night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's the official Tommy take, is it has good unlike the Wrangler, which you can barely see crap out of those headlights.
Sure.
At least the standard ones, these ones are pretty good. But no, I mean, it's got pretty good, it's got emergency braking, and I don't think this thing, it does have the lane keep assist. The audio system is pretty crap.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's not the worst audio system in the world,
Compared to the 07 RAV4.
which doesn't work at all. I don't know if this is really a safety thing, but the turning radius is spectacular.
It is good, right?
Yeah, I was surprised.
The winch on the front of the car, did you have to think about that parking it at all?
I did. So Tommy actually warned me about the winch on the front. He sent me an email and said, be careful when you park it, because that winch is huge.
You know what the story is behind that?
Have you done that?
Well, I may have crashed it into a fence.
Okay. Thank you for doing that, so I didn't have to.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I never felt unsafe in this car, but I wasn't necessarily doing anything unsafe.
That would warrant. I also think it feels pretty stable, right? I mean, it's very wide and it's got a long wheelbase.
Feels sturdy.
Good word.
Yeah.
This is us right now. just this is us in a car accident.
It's raining again. Also, you guys, I tried to do French braids, and I used to be really good at them, and then I was at a commish for a while with doing them. So now they look bad. And I'm fine with that. I can live with that. I am a little bummed though. The final category is vibes. Now, I have to admit, I do feel a little bit like the popular girl in high school driving this Ford Bronco. I feel tall. I feel kind of like I'm at the top of the food chain. I just think the green is really cool. I've called the engine growly before, and I feel like it kind of gives a growly vibe. His name is Brutus, so he feels like a Brutus. So in that way, it's kind of an ugly car. I think the Jeep is better looking. I felt more at home in the Jeep, but that doesn't mean I don't feel cool in the Bronco. You feel like you're at the top of the food chain, apex predator, let's go. You feel powerful, like one of the cool kids, which I never was. I was a big nerd in high school, so I'm cosplaying as a cool person. But on-road vibes are a lot better than the Jeep. When I was comparing the Jeep on-road, I compared it to LeBron James doing ballet. He's an athlete, so he'll still be able to do it. He just won't do it super gracefully. Whereas I think the Ford Bronco is closer to Michael Jordan playing baseball. It's not his sport. On-roading is not the job of the Ford Bronco, but it still does it beautifully. I mean, he still played baseball in the MLB and he crushed it. I'm sorry that my analogies only involve NBA players. Regardless. Overall, the vibes of the Ford Bronco are powerful, gritty. I just think it is such a fun vehicle. And I've also gotten to see what she can do off-road. They're so capable off-road, and there's not really any beating that except for in a Jeep Wrangler. So it's funny that we're doing these reviews because it's which one's better on road? I think the Ford Bronco. The Everglades, specifically, that's the one I'm driving. just better than the base model Wrangler. I think they go head-to-head, toe-to-toe off-roading, but on-road, the Ford's got it by a long shot, by a pretty steep margin in my brain. Thus concludes our drive with Mary. Thank you so much for watching. May you be silly and thrive. Oh my god, the windshield wipers are making the craziest sound. Can you hear them? It's like... It's like a cartoon. Ha, 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 ha. Like LeBlanc. I compared the James. What am I saying? I don't want to hear it! Okay, I got this. We got this. Zone in. Lock in. I know.
Oh goodness.
Those are my thoughts with category 1. Something smells weird.
Oops.
Why did I turn on this road?
Well, Mary, you know, only you can answer that.
Cut.
Cut.